Good afternoon, good morning, depending on what part of the world you guys are watching in from. What's good and afternoon. So please do me a favor as we just going live. Do the usual, just share and inviting people to be part of our conversation today. So let's make it happen. So inviting people as we went on to have our guests come in today as we have an excellent conversation. Tell me what city, what country you're joining in from, what city, what country. Good afternoon and welcome. Good afternoon and welcome. So we're just sharing and inviting in people as we're waiting for our guests to tune in and to be part of our conversation today. So really excited about this stream and just to have a conversation around everything career growth, career development. Really excited, So just type in what city, what country you're joining in, whether you're watching the replay, just type it in, we're waiting in for our guests to join in and be part of our conversation. So feel free to, tell us a bit about yourself, where you guys are joining in from. Um, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Excited. Thank you guys for joining in. Thank you for joining in. You know, in true, we're good to go. So we won't be here. Hey, Miss Janice, what's happening? Good to have
Hi,
you.
how are you?
How are you? I'm great. How you doing?
Good, good.
Good, good. Great. You're feeling great. You look relaxed and chilled.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
using
I'm
my
using my
standing desk
standing desk
now because
now
I've been
because I've been
sitting almost the
sitting
whole
almost
day.
the whole
So
day. So
it always
really, it always
relaxes me when I
relaxes me when
stand
I
a bit.
stand a bit.
It helps.
It
It
helps.
helps with
It
the
helps with
aches
the aches
that have come with
that
age.
come with age. The things we have to go through for work.
I know,
I
right?
know, right? The price you actually have to pay, for your dream. These are things.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We set out very beautiful goals, beautiful dreams, and when it comes to making it work and the work, you really have to go an extra mile.
Absolutely.
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 Definitely. I'm so excited to have you out here. So, how's work? How's the week going so far?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
going
it's going
well.
well.
It's going well. There's
Going
a
well.
lot
There's
to
a
do.
lot to do.
Um,
Um,
one of the
One of the
things that
things that
we because I work
because
for
I
an
work for an
organization that has
organization
a
that has a
is member
is
run,
member run,
we have to
we
have
have
our
to have
annual
our
general
annual general
meeting. So we're
meeting. So we're
preparing for that
preparing
this
for that
week.
this week.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
I
the
think
major
that's the major
highlight this
highlight
week.
this week.
Um,
Excellent.
yeah.
Excellent. That's beautiful. So we're just gonna go straight. So today we're talking about how to accelerate your career, and just leading up to the event that we're doing over the weekend, the Career Accelerator Masterclass. There's thousands of graduates that get off university, and unfortunately, not most of them really make it to the peak of their career. Success. Getting the jobs of their dreams. Everyone, when he's young, has got all these beautiful dreams, beautiful goals that we set out, for the career. Thousands. I always tell people and say there's thousands of people that are graduating. What's gonna be your X factor for you to be able to make it through, in the professional circles and get the jobs of your dreams? So that you can say it was worth studying for 7 years, 8 years, 10 years to get to the place that you're supposed to be. So as you join in today, I want you to tag your friends. I want you to share with your friends. I know a lot of you are joining in. Please just leave your comments. Tell us what city, what country you're joining in from, and make sure you tag your friends because We need to make sure that we prepare as many young people, for their professional life, and just give them all the tools they need to create the success that they desire. So make sure you tag your friends, your networks, people in your space. For this quick conversation, we won't be long, so they can spare a few minutes just to be part of what we're doing, today, you know, um, in the conversation. So, Miss Janice, I'm just going to start on straight on. What are some of the key things that you've had to do to make sure you prepare for the career of your dreams?
So I think a
So
lot
I
of
think a lot of
people
people
kind of ask
kind of
me,
ask
did
me,
I see
did I see
myself where I
myself
am
where I
today,
am
right?
today, right?
And I
Yeah.
always
And I
say
always
that it's
say
a
that
happy
it's a happy
accident,
accident.
right? And a happy accident is, and I think a lot of people tend to have happy accidents in their lives because, but the most important thing is that you have to be prepared, right? Because they say luck is when preparation means opportunity. And if you happen to find an opportunity that you can pivot into, you need to make sure that you're ready. And if you're not ready, if you're just going with the flow, unfortunately, you will think that you're the most unlucky person that ever lived. And I think for me, one of the things that has been really helpful is that I'm always upping my game. I always make sure that I'm not comfortable with sitting somewhere and being okay with what I have. I ask a lot of questions. Some of the people that have known me in my life sometimes know that, I can be a bit, I can nudge a little bit. Now, when we look at what is that skill? If I have to put it in terms of skill, that skill is basically emotional intelligence. Being able to be objective enough to plan your life and understanding that you are not enough, right? And I don't mean that in a negative sense, but understanding that you have to work towards being the best at your craft. In every room that I'm in, I always think to myself, what am I going to learn? Because I always know that I'll learn something from someone. It doesn't matter their age, it doesn't matter their position. You just need to be able to understand and look around. Um, One of the things that I always think about is how I've learned so much even from my kids. Parenting is a lesson, you right? My kids have taught me patience. They've taught me, um, you know, to believe in the power of just beautiful beginnings. Just over the weekend, I was watching my little girl play with her bubbles, and she had the most gleeful laugh. She was present in the moment, and she was happy, right? And that teaches me to be present, because sometimes life, especially with screens and everything, we forget how fortunate we are and how we ought to be grateful for what we have. So having that emotional intelligence is really key, and being able to know that you can learn something from every situation, even when you're going through stuff. Your A growth mindset demands that you ask yourself, what am I learning through this, right? A lot of people will then say, oh, why me? But why not you? Why not you? Because there is a lesson in there, and they always say that you're doomed to repeat the same situations until the lesson is learned. And if you don't learn the lesson, you will continue to be in this swirl that keeps you grounded in the same place, and you start thinking that you're one unlucky person. So yeah, I think for me, emotional intelligence has been a big skill for me. I didn't know what it was because when I was younger, it didn't have a name. Now it does. And so being able to be inquisitive enough and say, look, how does this work? How it works? And again, that's a skill you learn from kids. Kids always take apart the most expensive toys because they want to know, like, what makes this thing work? So having that inquisitive mind is, having a high sense of emotional awareness. Don't walk into a room and think you know it all. Get to understand who the people are and just be nice.
Yes, that's very true, and I feel like that's that's what makes you unique. I think you're a student of life, and you're always learning from your environment, the people you meet, and just really being present and just really connecting with people. And I think you made a statement that is very key, that is a big challenge for most people. Most people want the success, but they're not upping their game. So when I heard you say that, I said, that's the word right there. Because I don't see, some people feel like, oh, I graduate from uni, I've gotten this master's or the degree that I have, and it's finished, it's done at that point. What does it look like? And I feel like that's a reason why we always are doing these trainings and the workshops, that we are always working around, because people forget that part. And you just said it when you started talking about it, the art of upping up your game. Why is that so critical for every professional?
So
So
upping your game,
upping your
right?
game,
So
right?
if you look at
If you
if
look
you
at
look at
if you look at
where we are
where we
now,
are now,
post
post
pandemic,
pandemic, yes,
we
we
never ever
never
thought
ever
we would
thought
be
we would
having
be.
these conversations virtually, right? We kind of thought, yeah, we will get there, but in 5 or 6 years' time. And then life happened. And when the pandemic hit, everybody had to learn how to run online meetings. It wasn't a choice anymore. And that's what happens. We are in what they call the fourth industrial revolution, right? And that is the revolution, the digitization revolution. And everybody has to learn certain skills. You have to be tech savvy because your employer demands it. It's no longer a requirement. Those days, I think now, I've seen some job profiles where they put, proficient in PowerPoint and whatever, but most of the times they don't even put it anymore because it's a given. It's like you have to know how to read and write when you get into an organization. They don't ask you if you know how to read emails, right? Or how to send an email because they know it's a given. When they hire you, you need to have the skills that they're looking for. So one of the things that, that makes me sit back and think, I don't want to be obsolete in my career, right? And very easily you can become obsolete. I was reading, I'm obsessed with the World Economic Forum report, jobs report that comes out. I think it comes out every year. And this year they were talking about there's some jobs that won't exist in 5 years because of technology. Like, right now we have chat gp, we have virtual assistants, we have, so some pas might not exist, right? A personal assistant might not exist, that role. There are certain jobs in industries that are being mechanized. There will no longer be people doing certain things, and so in a few years those jobs won't exist. Right now, where I'm working with ACCA, we know that entry level jobs have been mechanized, have been digitized. They're no longer being done by human beings. So what happens to those people that used to be entry level? And so the internship landscape becomes very, very competitive. Whereas you used to be employed as an intern to come in and write letters and deliver letters, that's no longer happening. People in organizations are getting rid of people like drivers, because there's, the motorbikes everywhere. It's cheaper for you to send a letter for 100 kwacha than have somebody on payroll who costs you at least 5,000 kwacha a month. So it's all those things that employers are thinking about because they've also got shareholders they have to answer to. So they are thinking, how can I save money? How can I mechanize things? And if you look at the reasoning now is that a machine won't get sick. They won't need sick days. They won't need, Mother's Day. They won't need all these things. So how, I would rather much go for a machine than give this job to somebody else. So now it's up to us human beings to then pivot because they're saying that the industrial revolution is here. There's nothing we can do about it. But then again, one of the superpowers in the corporate world is emotional intelligence. A machine can't be emotionally intelligent. how can it make a decision? So there are certain things that a computer can calculate and say, if we open a factory in this area, calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the next 5 years, this factory won't be viable, right? But a human being will sit down and say, look, we're talking about sustainability. If we put a factory in that area, we're creating jobs. And when we create jobs, we're impacting that community in a positive way. So you as a human being still has a place, right? You still have a place in order for you to make certain decisions that a machine can't make. So you have to pivot. You have to, and so one of the things is, I know that there's a big argument around ChatGPT being curious. Yes, it is curious, but the curiosity of a human being is important. So a human being, being curious is asking questions like, why do people do what they do? And that's in marketing. So asking why do people spend money? Why do they do what they do? And who cares? And what's the point? What's the best option? How can we improve on this? So these are some of the things that you can use. Your curiosity now makes you valuable as a human being. So how do you then carve out? How do you carve out your niche? You have to up your game. You have to be that person that understands. Right now, again, the world is talking about big data, right? Big data is a collection of all of the information online from phones and from devices, anything that has an IP address and all the information online. But somebody has to be able to extrapolate that information. Yes, a machine can do it, but you as a human being who they always say who is living in the human condition will see certain things. I recently met a young gentleman who had said to me, I really like what you were saying, but how can I pivot? Because I studied statistics. It's not interesting. And I said, but you can pivot by telling us what the population will look like in a couple of years based on past trends. You can pivot by using your career to tell us what the future trends and how human beings will spend, where they will live, how they'll live. And he says, oh, I've actually never thought of that. So there's so many things that you can think about in terms of pivoting based on collaboration with machines and with digitization.
That's really excellent. I think you and I have, one thing I am is I'm curious. I am always learning. I always tell my team, and I say, if I am your coach and I am a desperate student, how much more you? Because I am constantly learning each and every day. How can I be better at what I do? How can I improve on my craft? If you experience me, 2 months, 3 months later, I have evolved and I'm growing to the next level of what I am supposed to do. And this is a quality you don't see with a lot of young people, because I kind of feel like they arrive so quick and they become so entitled that they just want things done. They don't realize that it takes a lot. I mean, I love, like, you are a student, you're ever learning, you're growing and you're investing. It's the same with me. I'm always looking for ways, that I can learn, I can become better. What is it that I can improve? What is it that I can change and add value to whatever I am doing? But I see, and I don't know whether it comes with being at the top or building stuff, or it's something that we can inculcate. How do we change that culture of, like, there's a kind of a laissez-faire attitude with, the now generation. How do we change that? How do we can you give people, a desire, like they want to learn more and become better? I don't know how to even ask, but I know what I'm talking about, but I don't know how to put it in words. Maybe you can add in on that.
So one of the things that I always look at is that I don't blame young people because there's been no mentorship model.
Wow.
Um, a lot of the things that young people see are, about the iceberg phenomenon, right? You see only a tip of the iceberg, but deep down there's something bigger. And I think young people do in our generation, and the young children that are growing up, is that they see the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg, and they think, oh, I want to be that. But meanwhile, deep down, there's so many things that are there that have gone into putting in the work. There's been the sleepless nights, there's been the sacrificing of not going out, there's financial sacrifice, there's friendships lost because you're not able to hang out. There's so many things. So I think it's that mentorship, that mentorship is really critical. And I think, and that's why I mentioned to you, I said, this is why I started Sit at the Table, because then it gives young people the view, and just people the view in corporate, of what it takes to sit at the table. What are the skills that you need and the work that you do, Coach Stead, in terms of how to accelerate your career. These things were not there in our time. We just kind of winged it. We went in, white knuckled our way through corporate, and hoped that we would get to the end, right? And we didn't know. We had, later on in my life, I had a few women that were like, look, you don't do things like this. You need to do it like this. And they kind of shortened my learning curve. So I think one of the things that's really important is mentorship, and being able to see an actualized version of their future self. And that can only be achieved through coaching. That can only be achieved through mentorship, through sponsorship, and just being in the right circles. So they say you become what you consume, or what you see, or what you live, right? So if you're always hanging out, at pubs and all of that, there's nothing wrong with relaxing, but it shouldn't become the norm. You should be able to say, look, maybe 2 weekends in a month, I will hang out with my guys, but two of these weekends, what can I do to advance myself? What can I watch right now? And I'm such a huge fan of digital because it's democratized learning. You can go online to Coursera, you can go online to YouTube, you can go online to LinkedIn Learning. There's so many courses that you can undertake that are free. And then find people that can help you now, just navigate what you're learning, so that then you can assimilate it and say, and that's where the curiosity skill kicks in. You then start to ask the questions. You go to a Coach Steady and say, look, Coach Steady, I went online and I read about public speaking and why it's important. Why do you think it's important? I learned about it, but I don't see the importance. So you kind of then start asking the right questions. Curiosity, really important, and it expands the way you think. The moment you are comfortable in what you're doing, you definitely you stop moving, you die, right? And you have to be adaptable. You have to be able to adapt, and that's what I was talking about, pivoting, right? You have to be adaptable, because I think it's a human condition as well to visualize things. When I go to this place, I must find a red t-shirt or I'm doomed, right? The all or nothing fallacy. And when you walk into a room and you find, a blue t-shirt, you panic and you think, oh my gosh, this is not how I planned it, right? And when you start talking about planning things, you have to be able to say, look, right, even if it's a blue t-shirt, it's still a t-shirt. I'm going to buy that t-shirt and I will find a way of, managing things. So that adaptability also is really important for yourself in your personal life and for your career. Because right now, companies are changing. You could walk into a company today and they'll tell you, right, we are now going to be working from home. However, we need you to account for your 8 hours a day. And if you don't have that adaptability, you will find yourself at the mall and your boss is calling you, right? And you start saying, oh, this person is persecuting me. You have a contract with that company. They've told you, we need 8 hours of your time and we'll pay you for it. So if you're not adaptable, you will struggle. You will be that person. And I've worked in enough companies. There's always that person who welcomes you and says, oh no. You will see for yourself. And then I know that this is a troublemaker. Why are you still here in the company if you're so unhappy, right? So you need to be very aware and you need to be adaptable. Run your own race. Keep focused. Be curious. Run your own race. Be adaptable and learn. Consume as much as you can. When you're on Facebook, just do an audit of your time, right, on your social medias. When you're on Facebook, what have you looked at that has developed a career or a skill for you? Or have you been spending time looking at pictures and laughing at so and so's ugly shoes or how she pretends to be rich when she's broke, right? How many times have you been online just to say, let me learn a skill? Or are you busy forwarding memes? And laughter is good for the soul. I love it. I love to laugh. But how are you moderating yourself? Self moderation is a key of adaptability, is a key of emotional intelligence. So I think those are some of the things, Coach Steady. I could talk forever. You know that. You know me well.
And definitely I do, and I'm out here excited because I love wisdom. And guess what I'm thinking? And I'm, like just listening to you talk, I'm busy saying, now these are the type of mentors our generation needs. People like you. And I have quite a lot of questions here, but I said we're gonna be here for 30 minutes, and we only have. I'm not even asked the questions that I set out on this side, but this has been worth it. But I do not want us to leave our conversation without talking about a seat at the table. I mean, you were talking about mentorship, and you just started this beautiful brand. And kudos to the level of excellence that you're putting out. Uh, our generation doesn't just need wisdom; they need wisdom packaged in the most beautiful way. And you have, I mean, put it out the best way. I mean, you've spoken about mentorship. How does the new brand that you've started up? Just tell us a bit about it, and how is it helping in the spaces that you're getting into now?
So one of the things that I realized when I started getting invited to sit at the table
Yeah.
was that I was ill-equipped. And I was ill-equipped. I was not bringing the full version of myself to the table.
Mm.
I went into these rooms where I disliked to be because I was qualified to be.
Mm.
But I went into those rooms doubting myself. I went into those rooms fighting the imposter syndrome. I went into those rooms minimizing myself.
Mm.
And one thing you have to remember is that when you get invited to a table, they want you to bring your full self. There's a reason why they brought you. They don't want you to be wallpaper or a shrinking violet. They want what you have in you. And the moment you walk into a place and think, oh my gosh, what do I have to say? What do I have to say that they need? Is the moment that the imposter syndrome creeps in and you start to exhibit self-limiting behavior, right? Without even knowing. And so I think for me, it's been years in the making. I am surrounded by an amazing ecosystem of caregivers, caretakers, and all of them can have a lot to share with the world. Have a lot to share with the world. And I was and I didn't. I think I had I don't know if I'd mentioned this before, but I had started a platform called Corporate Heals. And again, I started it in a season where I wasn't really ready. I ran into a burning building and it depleted me. And so I think I was like, I got so depleted the last time because people were taking and taking and taking and not giving anything in return. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be depleted again, financially, mentally, physically. I was depleted. But I kept on, having this thing until I remember my husband said to me, you have a responsibility. And he quoted Proverbs. I think was it Proverbs? It was a parable, the parable of the talents, where a master gave the servants talents, and some of them buried them. One of them buried them, others went and multiplied them. And when the master came back, he said, you unfaithful servant, why did you bury your talent? And it says, you are that servant. You are burying your talent when God expects you to multiply it. You are so irked by the state of certain things in this country. Why don't you rise up and do something about it? And then I have my team, my amazing team that support me. They just said, look, we're gonna get this done with you. Where do you want us to be? And I think that's something also that's really important. You need to be able to nurture relationships to the point where people remind you of your dreams and say, we're going to stand with you, right? And one of the things that we keep seeing is that we believe that women don't get along, or they're always pulling it out. For me, it's the women that have rallied around me and have said, "Look, we're here. Where do you need us to be?" And it breaks the narrative around women don't stand together. I had one of the girls in my team, Mambo. She was just like, "I'm not letting you let go of this dream, Janice. I'm not, because I've benefited from it, and I know there are others that can benefit." And she was like, where do you need me to be? There's so many girls, there's, that I've worked with. There's Katongo as well. She was like, I'm here. My friend circle, they kept on reminding me and saying, you need to do this, Janice. If you don't do this, we will keep reminding you. And so I think that accountability partner in your life, that you tell your dreams and reminds you that you need to go. You shouldn't give up. And so many times I felt like giving up. The day before recording, I was so dejected. I was like, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to be depleted. And yeah, there it was. So, and also one of the things is that quality for me is important. So even the production house that I worked with were like, we can do this. Give us a chance, and everything came out beautifully. And that also just reaffirms that, the Bible verse that say when God says that when the time is right, I will make it beautiful. And so, yeah, I'm really excited for this. I'm looking forward to doing the official launch. I'm looking forward to working with people like you, because for me, it's all about collaboration. Competition is dead. It's just going to deplete you. You don't want to do that. Look for collaborators that have a similar dream to yours, that will run with you, that will show you the way when you lose your way. And that is an ingredient of success.
That's very, very, very true. Man, this has been interesting and this has been exciting. So, guy, I can tell you that with the space that you're getting into and just the value you're bringing, this country needs it. Like we desperately need it. And I know we are a couple of years behind, but we need to get this job done. It's not an easy job. Trust me, it's not an easy job. I know what it's like. But thank you for
Yeah.
saying yes. Thank you for saying yes. And thanks to your husband who says, hey, you have a responsibility, push you into the game again because, we really need it for, especially for young people, the mentorship, and just not just young people, but older people, that still
Yeah.
want to learn and become better at what they do and their craft, and people never realize why we do what we do. It's because we're passionate about seeing people become better, because until we become better, we cannot talk about a better nation. So I'm not one to be complaining about where we are as a country. I'm one to take something up and start doing it so that it can add value to the country. And I guess even with the brand that you have, and what you are doing is definitely the stuff that is adding value, to people. So I know our 30 minutes is up. One last question. I said that was going to be my last question. So I'm going to say the last question I'll pick is, what books would you recommend for people to read?
So the
So
books,
the books,
the books
the
that I
books
would
that I would
recommend is,
recommend
just let
just
me
let me
check the
check the
titles. I need to
titles. I
get the
need to get the
titles
titles
correct.
correct. You can just give us three.
Um, yeah, I need to
Yeah,
get
I need
the.
to
I
get
think
the. I think
we spoke
we
about
spoke
them at the
about them at
last
the last
event,
event.
Coach
Yes,
Sage.
yes, you did. Yeah.
Um,
Um,
I need to
I
make
need to
sure
make
that I've
sure that
got the
I've got the
right,
right,
I've got the
I've got
the right
the right
titles.
titles.
But
But
it's
it's
for me, it's
for
all
me, it's
about
all about
mindset.
mindset.
and just making sure that. Um, so
So
my
my
suggested
suggested
reading
reading
is,
is
just need to
need
get
to get
at the
the
titles
title.
as we wait to open. Um, maybe you can ask me another question. You're on mute.
Thank you. So for everyone that is watching, I'm not gonna ask a question. I'm just gonna say you have to register for our Career Accelerator Masterclass that is coming up on Friday and Saturday, 2 days. If you really want to take your career to the next level, just with your professional space. You heard yesterday, I did another broadcast. I was saying some of you feel like you've stayed on a job for 5 to 10 years and you haven't seen any promotions and you feel like it's your village people. It's not your village people, it's that you have not really invested in yourself. This is an opportunity. You're the
Yeah.
weapon that is fashioned against yourself that is causing you not to go to the next level on your job. And you have the degree, you have the papers, but you're not trying to level up, build into the right networks, the right mentorship, coaching. And that's what the masterclass is going to be about. And trust me, this is the last event we're doing for the year, apart from the Dubai we're doing in November. So if you miss this one, next year is such a long time for you to wait and to be there. So you gotta do what you need to do. Register for the masterclass. Be part of the class. Be part of this masterclass. Network with people that are in the right spaces and in the right rooms. You never come to our event and you don't network with the right people that will push you in business, career, personal life. And that's basically what we stand for at Icon Management. And for me personally, as coach, I love to see people go to the next level. So I want to see you over the weekend for 2 days. You got to be there and set yourself up for success. That's my bigger challenge. So get ready for Friday and Saturday. This was just like a sample of what it's gonna look like over the weekend. So you gotta make it happen. You gotta join us on Friday and Saturday. You found the books?
Yes.
Yes.
So
So
the books that I would suggest that are on my thing is, this first one is the Likability Trap. It's written by Alicia Menendez, and it basically focuses on breaking free, because I think a lot of people tend to want to be liked, and if you are always wanting to be liked, you will not succeed. There will be issues where you will not be able to make any moves because you want everyone to approve. Being able to be top of your craft sometimes requires isolation, because some people don't believe in what you're doing. And for another one is Power Moves, by Lauren McGoodwin. It's a really good book. And another book by Adam Grant called The Originals: How Nonconformists Can Move the World. So it's all these books are about not conforming, but carving your own path and doing what is right for you. One of the things that there's one post I saw on Instagram that said, it's okay if people don't understand your call that God gave you, because it wasn't a conference call, it was a call to you. So you don't have to get approval from everyone for them to say, oh, yes, Janice, you're doing the right thing. Just a few people who are supporting you, that are saying, look, you can do this. You can do it. So these are the books that that I recommend.
thank you so much. Thank you for sparing your time and just making an investment in everyone that is watching and everyone that has been out here watching. We'll see you over the weekend. So we'll let you go back to work. I know you have work to be done. Janice, thank you so much. Yeah, we'll see you, over the weekend. And I'm really excited just to learn and just be part of what we're gonna be doing. So, let's do this thing. God bless you guys. Thank you for joining in. But before when you leave here, make sure you do the registration, and we'll see you on Friday and Saturday for the masterclass, the career masterclass. God bless and enjoy your day. Thank you.
All right, take
All right,
care.
take
Bye.
care. Take care. Bye bye.